So today I'll be doing a video discussing the end of the Dark Continent revealed and what you can expect from the end of the Dark Continent. But before I get to the video, I just gotta say, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to my Black Clover channel called Reek Bull. A link to that will be in the description down below. I'll be uploading Black Clover content over there. I know some of you guys might notice that the thumbnails do look a little bit familiar, but Black Clover is one of my newer favorite series, and I do like discussing it as much as I like doing Hunter x Hunter. So if you guys can go ahead and subscribe to that, I would enjoy that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. Now, we know that the Dark Continent, it is going to be the biggest thing in Hunter x Hunter history. No pun intended, not because it's 2 times bigger than the regular Hunter x Hunter world, but this will be one of the final and one of the biggest arcs in the series, and I believe that there will be a lot of huge things that do come out of the ending of it. Now, the number one thing, the obvious thing, will be the 6th and 7th calamity reveal. Now, the reason why I'm saying 6th and 7th is because we know that it's possible that multiple things can come back from the Dark Continent, because the thing that attached itself to Aluka, that came back, but yet it's not considered a calamity. So I do believe that from this voyage, once they do come back, they will bring back a 6th and a 7th calamity from the Dark Continent. And I do believe that that will be the big twist. Instead of bringing back only 1 calamity, this time they'll bring back 2. And we've seen them do something like that similar in the past when it came to Nanika. And the next thing that I think will happen will be major character deaths. And I mean major character deaths, because the Dark Continent, it's literally said that it has like a 0.4 survival rate. So you can expect a lot of characters to end up dying off. And the number one character I like to say is Hisoka. Now, the reason why I'm saying Hisoka is because, number one, he's already been battered up. If you guys see his newest design, yeah, let's just say that he needs a huge makeover. But we also know that right now he's hiding out from the Phantom Troop. He's hiding out from the Princess family. So I do believe that Hisoka, him being cornered, it can lead to him ending up dying on the Dark Continent. And speaking of the Phantom Troop, I'm just going to throw the whole Phantom Troop in here, not saying that every single member is going to die, obviously, but I'm talking about Phantom Troop members in general. Maybe some like Shizuku, or maybe some of the lesser important ones. I don't think ones like Nobunaga, Phaeton, or Finks will get killed off. Maybe Machi, but I can see some members of the Phantom Troop dying. Maybe some of them might even end up dying to Ahsoka again, because even though Hisoka is weak, the Phantom Troop, or not, I don't want to say he's weak, but he's at an injured state, or at least we can say that he's not at a state where he can take on the whole Phantom Troop. But they do acknowledge that if they do get caught in a one-on-one with Hisoka, he would end up defeating them. So I do think that can lead to some of the Phantom Troop members ended up dying if they do end up wandering off on their own, because we seen Nobunaga, he wanted to go wander off on his own, but Phaeton and Finks are like, that's not happening. So I do believe that some of the Phantom Troop members can end up dying. And speaking of the Phantom Troop, Crollo Lucifer. Now, I had to separate him from the troop just because Crollo, he is an entirely different person in general, and we see that it looks like that he's trying to be the main person to kill off Ahsoka. And I do believe that with him trying to get Ahsoka with their little death match, that could lead to him end up dying. Maybe Ahsoka might end up outsmarting him, I don't know, but be on the lookout for Ahsoka, because he might, or for Crollo, because he might end up dying too. And another character who I wanted to discuss was Jing. Now, Jing's death would be something monumental for Gon, just because this will be the 2nd time that he lost like the mentor. I don't want to say that it's a father-like figure, because obviously Gon doesn't look at Jing like that, but it'll be the 2nd time he lost somebody that's like important to him right then and there. And I do think that it would lead for Gon to set new goals. So Jing, I could actually see him end up dying from the Dark Continent, but regardless of the fact, I do believe that the end of the Dark Continent will have major character deaths. And the next thing that I think we'll have is closure for the Chimera Ants, because we currently do not have closure for the Chimera Ants. We know that Kite has been reincarnated as the twin sister of Meruem, the Ant King. So I definitely do have to say that I do think that we're going to get more insight on the Chimera Ants. Not saying that the whole arc is going to be about them. I think there's going to be a small portion of the arc about them. But regardless of the fact, I do think we're going to get closure from the Chimera Ants with Kite. She might actually be one of the main stars when it comes to getting closure for the Chimera Ants. And speaking of Kite, that does lead me to believe that the Dark Continent will get a time skip arc, or will lead into a time skip arc, because we know that Gon, he has to get his Nen back, and that will be an arc that everybody's going to be waiting to see. And I do definitely think that will happen right after the Dark Continent, just because after Gon sees everybody, or not everybody, but the remains of people who comes back from the Dark Continent voyage, it will motivate him to want to get his Nen back and go to the Dark Continent. So you can expect a time skip arc to come after the Dark Continent. And last but not least, I had to discuss the new Zodiac members, because when the Dark Continent arc is all said and done, we could have a new set of Zodiac members, because some of them may end up getting killed off while they're on the Dark Continent, but we know that Kurapika and Leorio, they are currently on the members of the Zodiac rosters. And if the Dark Continent voyage is a success and Kurapika and Leorio come back alive, then they would have the choice to make to rather to stay on the candidates of the Zodiacs. Now, if they do end up stepping down, that means that there will be 2 new Zodiacs, because I doubt that Parson and Jing will go back to the position. So new Zodiac members will be introduced, and I do think that will be dope. But overall, what's the most exciting thing that has you hyped up for the end of the Dark Continent? Because when Togashi does finally decide to come back and write the story, the end of the Dark Continent will lead to a whole lot of new things in Hunter x Hunter, because some people think that the end of the Dark Continent is going to be the final arc in Hunter x Hunter. Me personally, I don't think that. I think it will still have maybe 2 to 3 more arcs after that, but there is no doubt that the end of the Dark Continent will bring a lot of new story, or a lot of new content for the story, if Togashi ever finishes it. Comment what you guys think down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.